You know what this reminds me of? Western. The only way to fly. You're pretty old if you remember that one. That ages me even. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith. And we've got a radar arch, or not arch, but post that we're going to be modifying. The customer wants us to be able to fold down to give them clearance. And that's what we're going to be doing. And he also wants to put heavier, bigger antennas on here. So I was mounting these up here because I got to kind of place where we're going to put the split line here and where I'm going to add in these supports. I found these online. Nice aluminum hex in here. And when he gets done and touches up the powder coating, he can powder coat these as well. These ends are stainless steel. And I'm going to make 2 aluminum bosses that these will be able to go into. And then have a locking nut on one end of on the turnbuckle here, so that those could be adjusted and you can still pull this apart, get all the cables and all the wiring that run through there. So kind of what I'm doing right now is planning out the position of this and the split line. Now, I got this nice table that I have. Everybody asked me where my welding table came from, and I explained it several times in my videos. This table actually had 6 variable speed drill presses on it. And when I went over and it said, hey, there's a table with some drill presses on it, and I said, oh, okay, I'll go look at it. And then I went and looked at it, and I go, okay, I gotta have it. I gotta have it for the table. I sold a couple of nicer drill presses on it, and I gave away a couple of them. And anyway, I didn't keep any of them at all. This table was the most important thing, and it just happened to be the exact working height of the plasma cam. And then I took and I made my third table, my jig table, that I put on the other side sometimes of the plasma cam, and it gives me this entire run of the whole front of the shop here at the same height. Anyway, enough about the table. This powder coating on here is not going to let me do a nice scribe line around here, but I do want to use my surface gauge here to create the line. And I have, you have a drawer full of these indicator clamps. Most of the time you end up wasting away or breaking indicator holders, and mag bases fail, especially some of the cheaper ones. And the cheap handles you can find, because usually they have fat rods, and I didn't have to do anything. It actually fits a Sharpie. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to plan this out to be sticking out here where we want. Okay, I'll pull this off of here. Now, here we go. This will be fine. I kind of wanted to plan out have this gonna have a hinge on the back side, and it's gonna fold back that way there. And I need to have a clamping, some kind of a hand nut or screw connection. Want to be able to go up on top of the boat and unlock this and fold it down without any tools in your hand. So I'm going to be using something, and I want the split line to be as low as possible, but still have a top and a bottom here that will let me, over the top of this flat surface right here, have a thread or something that drops in there, or a pivot, or a dog, or anything that's going to come in. It might be 2 of them. All right, so I'm just going to say, I like something like that. Is tighten this down good. That's good. Double check. Okay, that's pretty good. That's about 2.5 inches off of this right here, and that's going to be well enough to start here. Okay, am I going to be able to come into the middle? Yes, I am. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to be taking probably a skill saw and cut this, because you look at this shape. There's no way that we're going to be able to put this in the bandsaw and set it up so that it could come in there and cut. Just because we have so much sticking out here, but we still have this and we have the angle. And lining up a blade for that is going to be pretty hard. Now, if we were slightly off, if we wanted to, we could toe clamp this down on the mill and come and we can face that top surface off of there, and we can gauge that. But we would be setting up that angle because this tapers in all different directions. This oval or this tier shape. There we go. Okay, basically, this is, if you took a cutaway on this, this is what you got. Percentage-wise, this is longer, and of course, almost the same proportional to the width. We kind of figured that out. But then we drew this to the length of this up here, and we know that this is fatter, percentage-wise fatter up at the top to the length than it is down here. So this actually tapers front and back and to the sides. All right, it actually it holds pretty close to the same width, but it changes forward and aft is what it actually does. So it becomes more round up there and more egg shaped down here. All right, we're done with our Sharpie. There we have our line. Now we're gonna take a look at what we have here for telephone call. Okay, I kind of twisted this sideways so you can see about what I'm looking at here. I want to be a little bit above our split line there, and we know that this is going to be out a little bit from there and down a little bit from there, and this is enough purchase to come out here and get within about 6 inches of the antenna itself right there. That's going to be making it a lot better where this is not flexing. Now, we're going to be boring a hole and making a flange weldment, almost like a tank flange, to fit into and recess into this here, but have the ear sticking down for the 1/2 inch bolt or pin. All right, so I kind of like that. So I'm going to use this as my height, and I want both of the. I want this to be equal to this side over here. It would be kind of nice. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and create a line right about there. Now we're going to be doing that. We're going to locate this probably square somehow. We're going to measure these to see if this will be so that I'm locating the square as far as the side to side, and then we can hit a dimension to give us a cross line this way here. But that's going to be a round socket, and if you do a round socket there and you do a round socket here, you'll be able to put this together with the pins in there and hold it into that socket position, and that will do the alignment. You know, we'll put this back up temporarily and do that as far as the alignment and then everything. There's ball sockets here, so there's going to be a little bit of flexibility. It doesn't have to be right on the nats behind. And so I'm going to lay out the other side here before we dry out or sharp them. There we go. Okay. We've got a line there, and we've got a line there. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to adjust our turnbuckle, and where we're somewhat half and half. But these are so easy to put back up on here that I'm going to go ahead and create this hole here and get this in here, and then have the other dummy one kind of sitting here, and then I will mark this hole second, because I want to make sure that we're in that midsection there, because I wanted to get the length out of it, but I wanted enough thread contact to make these adequate in strength. Okay, we've cleared off our table. We picked up our angle blocks and brought them up here. This block over here that's against this face is bolted down to the table, so it's holding that flat. So this face here is 90. This face here is also parallel with this, and that is held with this clamp just to give it a little bit more rigidity. And this thing is held down solid, so it's not going to move. We brought in, and this is underneath this part here just to stable this section out here. We brought in our box tube from our press in there, and a 1-inch spacer on each side here, and we clamped those down so that this aluminum surface here was just barely above here, because this is not square to the cut. So we had to create a square surface that we can guide our amputation tool on here, and we're pretty well all set up and we're ready to go. We went and picked up our Aluma-Tap. We're gonna put this on the blade just before we make our cut. It helps cut down on the galling, and it keeps the ease of the cut going for us. Now we're gonna have to go through this side, and then we'll flip this thing over and set it up for the other side. Okay, let me get my gloves, my Aluma-Tap here, and I'm climbing up on top of the table here so that I can get a good eyesight down. I'm going to get my gloves on here, and just in case anything comes wild. Alright, just a little drip of Aluma-Tap. Got the throttle going. Alright. Are we ready? I wouldn't do that to you guys. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's go to the other side. Just so you know, I did flip my saw up before I plugged it in and all of that, and I set squareness to my blade from the bottom of this so that I knew I was making a square cut. Okay, we're going to set this out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and break our system down. I think all we're going to do is just kind of like slide these around, and we're going to flip this over, and we're just going to move this to the other side there, and I'll clean off the chips off the table so we stay nice and square. we may have to move this down there, but we may be able to just do it like this. Okay, we'll get a little shim to go underneath there, and that will go right into there. That fits right in there. All right, that looks pretty close. That cut looks nice. After we separate this here, I don't know if we got enough depth to actually fully separate it, but we'll be prepared to do that. All right, before I forget, I need to get a shim under here. Oh, it's just like a piece of cardboard. There we go. That'll be fine. And I think we're ready to rock and roll again. Okay, I think we're ready for this side here now. Everything looks good. Another little couple drops of Alumatap. And here we go. Now I came all the way through on the back, but that left just a tiny sliver right there. Look at that. There we go. Oh, that was like perfect. Okay, let's clear away some of our stuff here and let's see how well we managed to keep a square off the table. Pretty darn good. That's like, well, you can see how close that is. You know, maybe a frog hair clearance on the top there, but it's touching there, and frog hair clearance on the bottom there, and right on that center rib. So we definitely got exactly what we wanted to get, and it wasn't that difficult, and it wasn't a whole bunch of danger to the component to start with. Alright, now we're going to set up the plasma cam and a piece of aluminum. We're going to be cutting out this tier shape with a hinge on the back side and some kind of a clasp on the front side. We've got to draw that up. Alright, until the next video. Get her done. I was right on the money on there. Just a little bit small. Excellent. Okay, we're going to blow up our tear duct and